All right, Mr. Smith, is that correct?
Yes.
Hi, Mr. Smith. My name is Kelly.
Nice to meet you.
It looks like you've been referred to me from your medical doctor, and so I already have a general sort of idea of what's going on. So we're just going to jump right into it and sort of do an intake assessment where I'm just going to learn a little bit more about you. Does that sound all right?
Yeah, that sounds fine.
Okay, and John, right?
Yeah.
Which do you prefer to be called?
John.
John? Okay. All right, John. So just so you know, these are just some of the intake forms that I will be using today, and if you want to see them at any time, you're more than welcome to. We're going to probably be flipping back and forth through these just so I can get a really good idea of where you're coming from, what you would want to accomplish out of these sessions, and so on. Does that sound all right?
Yeah.
All right, and if you have any questions at any time, please let me know, okay?
All right.
All right, so let's just go ahead and go right into the first one. So what is your reason for being here today? What really brings you in?
So my father is an alcoholic, and I don't want to become like him. I find often that I keep going towards drinking, so it's just like, I don't want to end up like my father. Like, he was kind of a bad father to my mother. So, like, he just wasn't a good spouse, and it just didn't turn out great.
Okay.
So, I don't know. Maybe some help with that. But it's just like I drink to forget a lot of things, or like, yeah.
Okay. So, how old are you now?
I'm 28.
Okay. All right, 28. So, it sounds like growing up with your father was a very difficult situation.
Yeah.
Okay. And you noticed that he was an alcoholic,
Mm-hmm.
and that's something that you really don't want to go down yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for sharing that with me. Okay. So, let's sort of talk about that. Are you still in connection with your father?
A little bit every once in a while, random phone calls and stuff, but not to the point I am with my mom.
Okay. All right. So it sounds like you're closer with your mother.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And do you are your parents still in the area?
Yeah, they live. My mom lives about 20 to 30 minutes away, and then my dad lives about 40,
Okay.
45.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are they split up?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Do you have any siblings?
I got an older brother, but he's in prison, so he's like out of the picture. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now with your parent relationship, so your parents are separated. How do you feel about that? How long have they been separated?
They've been separated for 10 years now. It's okay because I was more mature than I thought. I handled it a lot better because I was 18 rather than being, 5 or 6. So I kind of knew that there were reasons why they were splitting. So I handled it okay. It's fine. But,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So they split about whenever you were 18.
Yeah.
And how was your father's drinking at that point?
It was really excessive. He would just go to work. He did manage to go to work for a little while, and then after a couple years, he got fired. But then he would just go and drink at a bar, and then come home late at night, and didn't really contribute much to the family.
Okay.
So.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
But thank you for sharing that with me again. Okay. So let's talk a little bit more about you for now. So you're 28 years old. What do you do for a living?
I've been hopping around from job to job. Right now, I'm on a construction site working. I really like it, so I think I'm going to try to stick with it. But I just don't want to turn into, my father and start, just start drinking after work. Because, a lot of my coworkers will go have drinks after, and it's hard to, I don't want to put myself in that situation.
Yeah. So what are your drinking habits looking like right now?
Right now it's more socially, so after work, once or twice a week, and then at parties at home. But for some reason, it's just when I go out with the coworkers, I start drinking more and more than I should for the time that we're there, and then when I come home, I feel like I'm not as productive. Right? I can't.
Yeah. So whenever you are home, do you ever find yourself drinking at home alone?
Not really. Every once in a while, just because there's a sports game on, I'll have a couple drinks, or my favorite teams are on, but nothing too bad as of yet. But I'm worried because more and more I start to drink more often.
I understand. So, to further on with that, how does that make you feel whenever you are drinking, whether it be at home alone or whenever you're out in those social scenarios? How do you find yourself feeling before you start to drink?
Before I start to drink, I feel like I'm having fun. Like it's fun. So then like when someone passes a drink, it's like, oh, like this is like just the environment I'm in, that this is what we're supposed to do and hang out. So I feel like fine before. After, like while drinking, it's okay. But then it's to a point where I don't know if I can control myself after having like a certain amount.
Okay.
So if I have a certain amount, then like I'm gonna keep drinking. You know, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. So, so after you've been drinking, after you're at a party, what do you feel like whenever? Do you ever get to a point where you're just like, okay, I need to stop drinking? What does that feel like?
It feels like I can't control myself, so I'll like try to like stop, and it's just it's hard to control myself because I just start drinking, and it's just like a party, so it's like I don't know. I feel like it's just hard to control myself. Yeah.
Do you ever find yourself getting sick or blacking out at these parties or social events? Does it ever get to like that level where you might need medical attention?
There's been once or twice where I shouldn't have drank in as much as I did, but it was more of that was a time to forget. My mom and dad got into a huge argument over money. So that was a while back, but they still got into a huge argument, and I was trying to forget that, so that was probably the reason.
So it sounds like a lot of your drinking sort of comes from, if I had to categorize it in maybe like two categories, and tell me if I'm right here, like social drinking for fun, hanging out with your friends, you just want to keep the party going, and then like another part is that there's some situations that you want to forget.
Yeah. Okay. And alcohol temporarily, like it relieves the feeling. Yeah,
most definitely. So, let's sort of continue on here talking about this, but have you noticed that like is alcohol playing is it interfering in any other aspect of your life, such as like relationships, financial, your ability to work?
I don't think so. It's more like after work. It's not like I've ever showed up to work drunk or anything, so it's not really affecting my work.
Okay.
My personal relationships, not really. My mom just like obviously doesn't want me to go down the same hole that my dad did, so she's just like a little worried. She knows that like I drink socially, but so it's not really affecting any of my relationships currently.
Okay, so relationships with friends, relationships with significant others,
Good.
no big issues. Okay, and what about financially?
Financially I'm fine. It's just sometimes when I do drink a lot, it's like just a lot of money wasted almost on alcohol. So that's a problem, but nothing that I can cover it all because of my work. But yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like it's not a financial issue in the sense of like either if you choose to drink one week, like you can't afford groceries or gas.
Yeah, no,
okay,
not
so
that.
Not an issue.
I have some money saved, but I'm worried that in the future this could lead to like my father would just take his paychecks and go right to the liquor store.
Okay. Yeah. So, what kind of supports are you receiving from your friends, from your family? Like, have you talked about this with anybody else?
Some of my friends have been like, hey, like sometimes you do get a little crazy when you drink, so like they've come and talked to me, like my coworkers, they're like, hey, like sometimes you need to tone it down a little bit or something like that. So I've had friends confront me. My mom obviously cares about me, so she was like, hey, like maybe try to cut back or like try to not do this so often. So like they've like confronted me about it, and they're there for me, which is nice.
Yeah. Okay, so it sounds like you've got some people that are concerned about you in your life. Yeah. And my next question I should have asked this before, but does your father still drink?
Yeah, as far as I know, I haven't talked to him in a little bit, but yeah, he does.
Okay, I'm sorry to hear that. But it does sound like you've got some really good family and friends in your life that have noticed this, and they want to make sure that you're getting the help that you need.
Yeah,
so that's awesome.
They've been very great.
That's awesome. So let's sort of move into some of your strengths. So it sounds like some of your strengths, you have a really good social system that you have, as well as a family that really supports you.
Yeah.
So, is there anything in your support systems that makes you about the relationships with your friends and your family or your mom that's saying like, oh, I think you should cut back? How does that make you feel? Like, how did you feel the first time that they approached you about that?
I felt kind of like I felt good because they cared about me, but in a sense, I felt like fearful because of like, did I take it too far? Did I hurt anybody? Like stuff like that. Like I don't want to hurt anybody. So it's just like it was nervous and I was feared. Like I was in fear.
Um, so along with alcohol, are you using any other substances?
No.
Okay. Thank you. And some notes.
I should have